cloud server. Recording started. Wonderful. Hello and welcome to this wonderful interview with one of the key entrepreneurial stories in the super edition of Dhool Dhoop Dhakka. That's the name of the book by Arjun Lal and Deepa Gadge. And we have got a very interesting personality today, which I'm very much privileged and honored to interview him. His name is Mr. Arjun Ranga. He's from a southern part of India, a third generation entrepreneur, successfully having set up a multi-crore business and more popularly known for the Cycle Pure brand of Agarbattis or incense sticks. So thank you so much, Arjunji, for your time and welcome to this interview. Why don't you introduce yourself once again to the audience, please?
Thank you so much, Siddharth. I think I'm blessed to be part of the third generation of a family business that was started in 1948. We are known as the NR Group. We're based out of Mysore. Business started by my grandfather. So I've been part of the business for about 20 years now, but born into the business. So, I could practically say it's been 46 years since I've been part of the business.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much for the lovely introduction. And Arjunji, tell us something about the context of being an entrepreneur in a family managed business and the main theme of the entire book, Dhool, Dhoop and Dhakka. So as a third generation entrepreneur, how do you connect with the title and anything you want to share about that, please?
Yeah, I think in our family, if you look at it, the true entrepreneur is actually my grandfather. His story is just mesmerizing and very inspirational. Came from a very humble background in Madurai district in Tamil Nadu, a small village called Vatraipu. His family lineages of all either pujaris or teachers. So he's the first person in the family who actually left the ancestral village, went in search of opportunity, went to Nilgiris, was working in the cordite factory, then came to Coorg, was working in the Consolidated Coffee Works, then started our business in 1948, just around the time India got independence. So he's the true entrepreneur, and typical of every family business, the second generation of a family business is what grew the business. I took over from my grandfather, and my father and uncles built the business to the level that it is. I got educated abroad, worked there, joined the business in 2000, worked my way up, and then I've been managing it for about 15 years now completely. So entrepreneurship per se, I think is something that could be taught. So you kind of wear three hats whenever you are in a family business, right? You're a family member, you're a shareholder, and you're also a manager. So you need to understand where your skill set lies and then focus on that.
Right. Wonderful. Thank you so much for this beautiful, in a short, concise way, how you have done the entire three generations. So for a person who is into family business, especially the young generation, they always have this question that family business, entrepreneurship, second generation done, third generation coming in, what's there in it for me? How can I create or leave my mark? And how is it possible for me to shine and rise in the entrepreneurship in a family managed business? What is your take on it? Because you have worked abroad and you have still taken this decision to join the family business.
I think it's a mindset thing. Growing up, we all grew up in a joint family, right? We are 45 people living in one house. So I grew up with my cousins. Even today, I call my cousins as my brothers.
Wow.
My uncles, I call them Chote, Chikapa and Dodapa, which means small father and big father in our language. So that's how we grew up, and there was a sense of camaraderie. And who else better to share your, happiness as well as sorrows than your family, right? And that's the fundamental premise of family business. You share your wealth, and you also share the risk. And that's how family businesses are built over generations. And I am a strong believer of altruism, right? Nothing can be better than the greater good. So it's again a mindset of individual against family, of togetherness against equity, right? So each person can take a call for themselves, and most families are set that way, where they let you pursue your individual aspirations as well contribute to the family. And our family is one such family that let us reveal ourselves and discover our journeys through the times.
Wonderful, wonderful. I think the culture is actually, you are speaking about the cultural values which are really strong and which is what makes India so much special about it. So if looking back at the history and the growth of your company and the way it's been, the evolution has happened in the last so many years, if you could just highlight some of the key pointers maybe your grandfather or maybe your father, your uncles would have taken some key decisions, which has actually made a small startup into a multi-crore company worldwide. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the biggest step was my grandfather decided that he quit his full paying job in 1947. He had four children by then. So he was already in his late 30s then. The, the self belief to take a risk and a leap of faith in 1948, just the time India got independence. That was, I think, the first step for any entrepreneur. Conviction, self belief, and to give it 100%. Right, not have a job and then try something part time and then he didn't do that. He gave it all. He said, all my life savings I'm putting in this. I'm going to take 2 years. That's how much savings I have. 55 rupees per month rental place he took and started. That's the first lesson. Second, very soon he realized that you need to build a solid core competence. Okay. And our core competence is in fragrance creation. So he learned perfumery. He got books. He was a very well-read man as is. So he got books, read about it, understood perfumery, and created fragrances that nobody had even imagined possible in Agarbatti. And that's been one of the biggest reasons of our success as well, is that our fragrances are timeless, right? And they are mass. Everybody would like it. And that's how we created one of the strong core competencies from my grandfather's time. When the second generation came in, they built processes into the system. We were the first ones to buy Wipro DX2 computer to manage our sales force. My dad did his MBA and then revolutionized the way Agarbatti is distributed. We followed an FMCG sales and distribution network. We built that's the second generation created a family board into which they had professionals below them reporting into them. So they created structures for growth that really enabled us to take that leap. When India started to grow in 2000 post liberalization, I was there at the right time, qualified again. Family insisted on me becoming an engineer and then getting educated abroad. I did my MBA in the US. And family insisted that you get outside work experience and then come back to the family business. And I did that. And so did my cousins and brothers as well subsequently. So the family kind of enabled us to do what we had to do to come back and build the business further. And the second generation built that solid foundation of process, systems, financial discipline, ethical business practices and values, and created a sense of, paternalistic approach towards management of employees. That was key. Without people, you can't do anything, right? I mean, people are the key essence of any business. And the second generation built that. And we, as a third generation, could then come and help take that to the next level. With the growth of the country, we could also bring in new systems and processes and build on top of that.
Right. Amazing. I think some very important qualities: the belief systems, the faith, the decision to do it. Just no plan B for your grandfather, and then the second generation having the organized planning, the structures, systems, and processes. And you also, having this thing that, okay, it's not that, okay, it's a family business, but I need to have that background. I need to understand the business and then add the value in the business. Amazing. That's all good qualities, which textbook qualities, all checkpoint. I can say that for sure. Well, tell us something about your current scenario right now, given the pandemic and the COVID-19, the world is being gripped by this pandemic. How nimble has your decision making has been, and what do you see for yourself? Because you are a global organization, although people you're not publicly listed, but still you are a global organization. So how would you like
to? Exports to 65 countries. We have multi-location manufacturing, and we are present, in quite a few different locations across the country as well. Definitely. So in a true sense, we are a multinational. We are among the largest incense manufacturers in the world in terms of volume. So definitely. Well, what happened is when I was returning back from a trip abroad around mid-February, and I realized that there was a lot of chaos in the airports with people wearing masks. Temperature checks had already started. This was around mid-February when people had actually not realized the impact of the pandemic. Then when I came back, I realized that if this pandemic eventually comes to India, that we will have to, gear up and, button down. So we had a team meeting around February 25th where we brought down a business continuity plan. By first week of March, we were prepared in all aspects for work from home, got in all the licenses required, moved all desktops to key personnel's homes, arranged financing to ensure that even if we don't have sales, we will be able to, manage, kind of drill down the decision-making process across the supply chain and the value chain, enabled each and every person in the front line to take decisions for themselves. then started communicating. And when the Janta curfew was announced by our Prime Minister ji, we were prepared mentally for a longer haul of lockdown that's going to begin. And when lockdown actually started, the organization was completely prepared mentally and also from a digital standpoint. And that's the reason why we could manage that transition during the lockdown. One thing we did is we started to over communicate with our team. We have close to 4,000 employees across the country and across the globe. So we did regular town hall meetings, regular interactions, kept everybody updated, followed all safety protocols. In the meantime, we also wanted to give back to society. So we set up our own hand sanitizer line during the peak of the pandemic.
Right.
And donated sanitizers as well. So we did our bit during that time that helped us prepare for unlock.
Wonderful. I think really nimble-footed, despite being a multinational, but keeping all the processes, taking the precautions, especially managing the cash flow, over communication. That's a real powerful thing, because I think at this moment when there is a lot of gray areas, communication and being over communicating about what you are intending to do, that's really keeping the trust factors with all your associates in the company. That's a brilliant strategy, I think. So let me ask you this question, Arjunji, that given this current scenario which you have rightly described, this connection of Dhul Dhul Dhakka, what your story which is being featured from your grandfather's time is being featured. For young entrepreneurs who are reading this book, what is one key message which you would like to share with them? Because they think, oh, it's pandemic, oh, it's so good to have a job, or maybe there's no security in the job also right now. As an entrepreneur, what would be your say to them?
I think the biggest thing is having the courage to dream. Okay. You have to have the courage to dream and follow your dreams to the fullest. Second thing I've realized is for any entrepreneur, family support is the most important aspect, right? You cannot do it on your own. And for my grandfather too, there was a family support of my grandmother and his eldest daughter who stood by him no matter what. There are instances of them sacrificing their daily needs so that my grandfather could go and, ensure that the business progresses. So family support, I've realized in an Indian construct for entrepreneurs is very important because the family mindset is for security first, not for risk.
Right.
So that I think is as a key essential that I did not have the disadvantage of as an entrepreneur because my family is from an entrepreneurial background and the family encouraged us to go and discover ourselves. So dare to dream, ensure that you have family support, and go with 100% conviction and self-belief.
Awesome, amazing. This is an important question which I want to ask you, and I'm sure I know the answer, but I want to hear from your end. How important is right now? Currently, the people are in scarcity mindset. People are having cash flow problems and job losses are there. It's a crisis. How important it has been contribution or giving throughout your growth from your grandfather's time? What is the quality of contribution giving important?
No, I think that's kind of etched into our value system as a family and as a business as well. From the time of my grandfather, right? Financial discipline and giving back to society was integral to his growth. He said you can only grow if people around you grow as well with you. So the society that you live in, you need to be able to make a difference in that society and make a difference to the people that are there in society with you. And we followed that through and through. If you know, after my grandfather passed, my father and uncle started a school for visually impaired girl children. So it's been 30 years now. So blind girl children, there are almost 120 of them that go through the school every year. And we are there. They have up to 10th standard there. Educate them, teach them life skills. It's a fully residential, funded by the group, girls school for visually impaired, children. We also do a lot of empowerment programs for women through the businesses that we run. We are also, taking care of slum children in and around Mysore, trying to rehabilitate them. We conduct de-addiction programs for women and men who are addicted in slums. We're doing a lot of initiatives to help our society. And of course, during the pandemic, we believed in what our government was doing. We contributed to our Prime Minister's fund as well, the Prime Minister Cares Fund. We donated close to 10,000 N95 masks, hand sanitizers. There's no count of that to the local district administration, stood by industry bodies to support them in whatever way we could. See, when God gives you the ability to help, you need to be able to help no matter what, right? And you can do that only if you take care of your people first. And we believe that our employees come first and are paramount, followed by our stakeholders who are our distributors and our channel partners and our vendors. So we stood by them during the pandemic. We communicated with them, and we kind of helped each other. And that's the support we had to deliver our products to our consumers, because ultimately, right, everybody is praying at this time. And faith is the most important thing that we need to protect. And with our Agarbattis, if a mother can pray for the well-being of her family and her children, then my job is done, right? Because hope is all
Awesome.
we have.
Yeah, I think that's a brilliant answer, and I knew the answer. It's going to be a yes because I could see and feel the culture of giving and contribution imbibed and etched, as you rightly mentioned, in your upbringing. And I think that's made one of the key differential factors of you being there, being prosperous, and being the number one in the world in your industry for sure. Last two questions, Arjunji. Uh, Cycle. I mean, it's there in the book, but I want to hear from you. Why the brand Cycle? I mean, what's the real story behind it?
My grandfather was a very simple man. Okay, came up the hard way. In 1950, he realized that for a product to be successful, you need to have a brand, and you need a brand that people anywhere in India would recognize, and a name that is easy to pronounce, and a symbol that if anybody sees, they'll immediately know what it is, right? And that's why he said, Cycle Agarbattis. It was a very, very simple thought, but a very powerful thought. And over the years, a lot of philosophical attributes have added to what a cycle means, right? It's an aspirational vehicle for people, right? And that's a freedom that you get when you ride your cycle first, just like how prayer and God is to you. Okay, it is powered by your will. It personifies hope for people. So a cycle merely from a device became a symbol for us. Okay, a symbol of hope and aspiration and dreams, and the cycle of life, right? The ups and downs when there's a birth in the family or otherwise continues with Agarbatti. And another thing that connected the brand with the product was that a cycle is common for everybody, no matter who you are in society. You have to ride it yourself, right? And it is powered by your own will,
Right.
just like how God is same for everyone. So Cycle Agarbatti kind of stood for what is good and great about our nation, and stood for people's hopes and dreams, from 1948. So Cycle kind of became central to that for us. So it was just not about it being a symbol, but more about an imagery of hope, of
Right.
aspiration.
Right. I think amazing. This is a wonderful answer. I think the way you have linked the from brand positioning perspective to philosophical perspective to theologians. I think this is a brilliant answer which you've given, Arjunji, which really touched my heart. That's what the brand, and what a visionary your grandfather would have been to have thought about this brand, and you have been. I mean, very. Following the legacy which is being there flourishing in your group. Final answer question, Arjunji. What's there for the entrepreneurs or the upcoming entrepreneurs who are reading Dhul Dhub Dhakka? Some final tips from a successful entrepreneur, third generation entrepreneur from you.
Now the tips are very simple. Okay, no business stops because there is a lack of funds. No entrepreneur fails because there is lack of funds. Entrepreneurs fail for lack of ideas, or ideas that they try to push that market does not want. So always create ideas that market requires and consumers want. Create a need, create a demand. Second, most important, the team that you work with, have 100% faith in them and trust in them. Believe in the team, believe in the people that you work with. Only with people can you succeed. The second biggest reason why Indian entrepreneurs fail is because their team does not back them at the most critical junctures. Okay, so believe in your team. I have seen the power of a solid team. The reason why we are what we are is because of the team that we've built over the years. Right. The third most important thing is be ready to take risk. Without risk, there is no reward. And as entrepreneurs, we need to be willing to take risk. This is a great country of ours.
Right.
Tremendous opportunities ahead for each and everybody. Huge consuming market. Global eyes will be on this country. And we are at that juncture, at that pivotal point when this country is going to just turn. Right? And if you are an entrepreneur at this time, there is no better time. Thank you. And Jai Hind.
Awesome, awesome. Jai Hind, thank you so much. This is Mr. Arjun Rangaji. Thank you so much for sharing your gems of wisdom. This is really, I'm honored and privileged to have you on this interview panel. And thank you so much again, once again, for your time. Thank you so much, Arjunji. Thank you.
Thank you, Siddharth.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, in case if you find something which I should ask you, I can do that now.
No, I think you covered everything. It's perfect.
But I loved your answers, Arjunji. The way you covered it from the management perspective and then bringing back to our cultures. Oh, that was a real blend of answers, and that really touched me. And I learned a lot.
No, Siddharthji, thank you so much. You're very kind of you, very humble. So I think another important factor that I forgot to mention was for our business to be able to reach the level it did, I think humility played a very important role, right? To be humble in what you do and to be humble in the way you live is also as important. And that's one of the characteristics of giving back to society. If you look at the greatest achievers across, in any domain for that matter, humility is something that makes them, makes the difference between the best and the rest. So that's, I believe, a very important aspect for entrepreneurs, because if you stay humble, then the pursuit of excellence continues, right? The moment you become arrogant, you kind of start, not pushing yourself to achieve more and to start learning more. The ability to constantly learn is a very key aspect of an entrepreneur. To be open to new ideas, to have an open mind to learn and unlearn and relearn. Okay, and that's something that my father instilled very early. And even this day, I constantly attend programs organized either by the IIMs or CII or ISB, or if required, even some international businesses. Keep going to workshops, keep honing my skills, keep upgrading myself. I took some small program on digital marketing. I'm learning something about video editing now. To be current and to be relevant, I think as an entrepreneur is as important, as and that's, I think, comes with humility. Humility that you never know it all, and there's always something for you to learn.
Absolutely. I think that's a very important quality. And I could feel from your vibrations, and when you just, I saw you that, oh man, this guy is so simple and being a multi-crore, but that's the humbleness which speaks, and that's the real wisdom. Wealth whispers and money talks, but wealth whispers. That's what is coming for.
I've not heard of that, Siddharth, but it's a very good line.
Yeah, it's a wonderful line.
Money talks. I'm probably going to use it sometime. So
yeah, money talks, but wealth whispers, and this is what the real wealth is. Wisdom, wealth. That's what is important. All right. Anything else?
No, that's about it. I think I forgot about humility, and that's an important aspect. So
perfect. Yeah. So I'll end the meeting right away. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Take care. Bye.